A scam, if we can agree on a definition, is where a majority of people who will go through the institution or business, they're not getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and they're being deceived when they sign up. So do we agree on those terms?
Yeah. The voice you just heard belongs to the late Charlie Kirk, a very controversial figure that tragically passed away not too long ago. I mean, we are on February 15th, 2026. He died last year. And, Charlie Kirk, it was a very interesting individual. I never met the man, but I really wish I would have. Of course, there's no way for me to meet him now. But oftentimes I would watch TikTok or Instagram, and I would see his videos where he would debate at different college campuses. And sometimes I would listen to what he has to say, and I would always think that, wow, this guy's weird. But most of the time, I just see a clip and I just keep scrolling. I don't really care to what people have to say, especially conservatives or even liberals for that matter. I don't really listen to debates or listen to what people opinions are in front of a crowd, because it just seems weird to me, kind of cringy almost in most cases. But at any rate, sometimes I do stop to listen to what he has to say, and he has a tremendous speaking abilities and definitely debating abilities for sure. But I never really focused on him. I never really knew how powerful he really was. And I am very sorry that he died so tragically. And I'll admit, I didn't mourn his death when he died, but I also didn't celebrate it. And I condemned anyone who did. He was a father, he was a husband, and he was the founder of a huge movement, Turning Point USA, which is, again, whether you agree with it or not, it became a huge movement trying to have youth, like youths meaning high school, college age students, to see Christian values, I guess, or right-wing values. Again, it's their prerogative, but I was just really surprised that after he passed away, how much of an impact and how much influence he had. I mean, when he died, how many stadiums held moments of silence, okay? The Green Bay Packers stopped their game. The Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, they they gave a moment of silence to Charlie Kirk. And the Jets, the Tennessee Titans, Cardinals, Charlie Kirk's memorial was held at State Farm Stadium, and that was a hugely attended festival by President Trump and Vice President Vance and many, and of course even Elon Musk. So that was a very big event. What surprised me was when Yankee Stadium actually held a moment of silence. But at any rate, I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, he was very meaningful to that cause and to the conservative movement, and that is to be respected. I respected it. I mean, I didn't agree with a lot of things he said, but after his murder, there were conspiracy theories about his death, which sometimes happens when famous or influential people is murdered out in the open. And I found that some of the stuff he spewed out are enormously controversial and distasteful. I disagreed with just about everything he said. He did say a lot of stuff, but no doubt that this man was a powerhouse. And I bet had he stayed alive and, because he was such a young man, he was only 30-year-old when he died. That's just tragic. And he died in front of his daughter. Oh, God, why is this world so evil? But I'll tell you this right now, he would have won some elections. I mean, he has a huge following, and he definitely would have had a lot of backing if he decides to throw his name in for an elected official. But I'm going to focus on the one thing that he said, which most pertains to this podcast. Okay, we, of course, are a podcast about education, the controversies of education, and, of course, teenage and young adult growth. And, of course, let's listen to what he has to say about college. Listen up.
What would further definitions, what do you think is the purpose of going to college?
The purpose of college should be a traditional liberal arts education, the pursuit of what is good, true, and beautiful.
Okay.
That's not what it is. It should be the betterment of yourself and your soul, nurturing your character and becoming a better citizen, understanding the deeper things in life. At the very least, though, it should be preparing one for the job market.
So let me ask you this, folks. Is college a scam? Well, what do you think? Is it better not to go because it's a scam? A scam is an act in which someone willfully deceives another to get something, usually in the form of money or property or whatever. And the person who is scamming knows that what he's doing or he or she's doing is wrong, but they do it anyway. Usually committed by antisocial people. I've been scammed and many times, and I've been scammed in big ways, but that's another podcast. It's a form of stealing. Scamming is a form of stealing. I mean, don't you ever get those weird emails or those calls from people say, hey, we can go in your backyard and fix things up and we can do all this and blah, 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 blah. Well, the minute I ask them for their contractor's license, they're like, oh, well, duh, I don't have a contractor's license. We don't need that. That's not important. Oh, yeah. Okay. Goodbye. So you got to watch out. Scams are everywhere, but it is a form of stealing. It is done by very deceitful, evil people. So why is he saying that college is a scam? Is he saying that colleges willfully deceive students for money? I don't know. Let's study on what he sees and what many people see.
A lot of classes that you would consider useless, but we still pay for them. So it's like, why are we paying this extra money for the stuff we don't want to learn? I personally have not had that experience. I haven't taken a single useless class yet.
How many of you guys take classes that are a waste of time? Look around. You are in the minority, my friend. That's fine.
I think...
You know what it's like? It's like saying, hey, I had a great experience on Spirit Airlines. Wow, I met someone.
Okay, so he sees colleges as overpriced and not always worth the cost. Let's listen in.
You say don't need college to get a job. Why would it be a scam? There's a social impact about college, on America. College is, good.
The majority of kids that go to college when they graduate have a lower view of America than when they entered. Do you think that's a troubling thing?
I think just changing your opinion doesn't really matter too much.
Do you think that college teaches responsibility and hard work and...
Sure.
Okay, well, I find that hard to believe. Why is it that employers are more and more not wanting to hire college graduates and they actually want to hire people that didn't go to college?
What employers?
You can name them out, man. Walmart just got rid of their, even in their corporate level, so you don't need to go to college. Koch Industries, one of the largest employers in the country, from Georgia Pacific Railroad to Dow Chemical. They said we no longer want kids that have gone to college because they end up causing problems because they're super entitled and they have all this like left-wing nonsense that they've been filled with.
Well, then you have engineers, doctors, lawyers, people that
Sure, we need that, but that's less than 20% of the people that go to college.
Yeah, but
college
it'd
is
be
an
wrong to say
institution.
college is a scam if 25% of people become great people. Lawyers, doctors, engineers.
That's not what
really
college
help the
currently
world.
is, though. Again, I'm happy to have you read the book. College is a scam. I wrote it. I can have a more wordy thing, which is the vast majority of people that go to college are receiving a scam for the money that they're borrowing. The vast majority. Of course, there's exceptions. You can make whatever you want with your life. I mean, you could. But I mean, when you enter into an enterprise, you need to know that you are.
Most people that go into college make more money at the end.
How many of you guys have to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you wouldn't have to take? Every single hand. You're being scammed against your will to take classes that make you go further into debt.
All right. So interesting, huh? Yeah. Listen, many universities charge skyrocketing tuition, and it's going up every year. So I don't know how much longer this can be. I don't see this lasting much longer. I mean, how do you expect people to pay for something like this when it just keeps raising? Ultimately, it's just going to fall apart, I would imagine. There are other alternatives, and especially, with these tuition being funded by government-backed loans. Are you really sure that the education that you're going to get matches the price tag? I mean, students are left in debt with degrees that don't guarantee a better job. And he has said that many students, a degree doesn't lead to employment in their field and sometimes doesn't even improve employability. Well, listen, I've always been about being honest and truthful, and I try to say that to my students and any individual that that I encounter. And I always believe to be honest, and because I wish people were honest with me. Because listen, I grew up thinking that college was the end-all, be-all, that college is a must. When I entered high school, I didn't have a choice. I was going to go to college, and that was it. And my dad didn't want to hear anything else. You're going to go to college. That's it. So what changed? Back then in the 80s, college was not nearly as high as it is right now. But at the same time, you were expected to go to college because they say it's going to lead to a better job. It's going to lead to a high-paying job. And it's true that people with a college degree do earn more than people who don't. But I do agree that it doesn't guarantee. Here's the key word, doesn't guarantee. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a better job than somebody who doesn't have a degree. I mean, because tuition is so high, outrageously high, and unless you're extremely wealthy, you're going to be in debt. That's something you just have to accept if you want to go to college, especially one of those major 4-year college like, say, USC or UCLA, Stanford. Oh, my God, the private universities, yikes. Now, of course, back east, if you want to go to like the Ivy League schools, that is 6 figures, like almost 7 figures. You have to borrow government-backed loans that may keep you in debt slavery. Yes, because being in debt is a form of slavery. I'm sorry. It just is. You can debate me on it. But, every time you go to work and part of your hours of making work, part of your earning goes towards paying off that debt. So, and you're going to be in debt as a result of college tuition loans. You're going to be in debt for decades. I know people who are retired and still paying off their student loans from 30 years ago. Because students are never told that it is not the degree that decides the salary or the employability. It's the job market. If a business can't hire you, they won't hire you. If you have a set of skills that are no longer marketable, you got to go back to school. You got to go back to school and get that skill set, whatever it may be. And that's the key. You got to learn, and you have to be adjustable. I'm not doing the things that I've learned in college. In fact, I got a degree in biology. Am I using it? No. Here I am podcasting. I'm teaching media. Nothing to do with that degree. And I think one of the most twisted things that I hear people tell you is that, if you get this certain career and a certain job, you're going to make $100,000 a year. Like, for instance, I hear that a lot with engineering students. Oh, yeah, I'm going to make $100,000 a year. No, you won't. Hey, no, you won't. Okay. You may make it after about 10 to 15 years of working. You think some employer is just going to say, oh, yeah, this guy looks great. He looks good. He interviewed well. He's got that college degree. Let's go ahead and pay him $100,000. He didn't even have to prove himself. Okay, you know what? There's very few professions that pay so much money and that they're going to take a risk. Professional sports is a place where, they'll take a rookie and they'll pay him like $20 million. And, it's a risk. They know it's a risk. So they form a contract that's basically designed to minimize the loss of investment if they pay this rookie and suddenly he breaks a knee or, has to quit the game because he's injured too much. That just happens. But for the rest of us, it's just not true. No one's going to pay you that amount of money. It's very rare. Very, very rare. Now, I do see computer scientists making good money, or they get signing bonuses. I heard some of them, especially these AI programmers, these cybersecurity programmers, they're making really good money. But It's very, very rare that someone would make so much high money without having to prove himself. So let's go back to Charlie Kirk. What else did he also say that I kind of agree with him? And there's not many things I do agree with him, but he does criticize the return of investment. Okay. Let's go ahead and hear what he has.
College is this amazing accelerant, then why do so
I
many
wouldn't say
people...
it is accelerant, but if you're looking at a field of science, right?
Let me finish, man.
And you want to accelerate that field of
communication
science,
course, or have you not done that yet?
You need a degree.
All right. Let me make my point. If that's the case, why do half of these kids end up with anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 in debt, and they end up getting a job that says, "Oh, sorry, you never needed the degree in the first place"?
Okay, so in his view, because so many students either drop out or graduate into jobs that don't require a degree, the financial payoff of a traditional bachelor's degree doesn't match the salary of eventual jobs, okay? I mean, let's face it, you got to do the math. Let's say you are, and after 4 years, you're going to a mid-level college, okay? And after 4 years, you ended up paying $60,000. Well, the average, let's say the interest rates are about 6.4%, okay? And you have to pay it in about 10 years, okay? So that's, so looking at the numbers here, punching the numbers here, you're going to end up with a payment of about $700 a month. $700 a month, okay? And after about 10 years, you did not pay $60,000. Oh, no. You've ended up paying $82,000. So that's $22,000 extra. Oh, it's a huge money-making scheme. So the schools, the colleges are not necessarily scamming you because, again, I still don't think it's a scam. But I'll tell you this right now. The capitalists, the banks, the financial people, oh, they're making bank. They're making bank. They're charging all these interest rates and all that. Oh, that the whole idea is to keep you in debt. And because they tell you that, oh, yeah, you got to go to college and you got to get that degree in order to get a job. Well, yeah, a lot of employers still require that paper in order for you to be a candidate for any kind of position available. So I would have to say that college is not a scam, but it is a risk. It is probably an investment. And traditionally speaking, the return on investment is not good. If college tuition was a stock, let's say it was widget number 3, okay, widget 3. Okay, and you put in all this money to buy stock from widget number 3, you probably will lose. So, question is, would you invest in that? Okay, so let's also hear what he has to say about the real world after you've gotten the degree. What happens in the real world? Okay, let's hear.
Oh, it said that you're going to have to take all these different classes. Did they tell you that half of you guys would not ever use your degree when you go into your career? How many of you guys knew that? You guys knew that when you signed up?
Well, college is what you make of it, right?
You guys are willingly participating in the scam. Good for you. The point is this, is that most kids know deep down they're getting ripped off. The number one thing I hear from people across the country in corporate America, boy, college is a waste of time. Boy, I wish I never would have gone. Now I have $60,000 in debt, $70,000 in debt. I wanted to start a business, but now I don't have the credit to do it. Instead, we are wasting our most prized possession, our 18 to 22-year-olds, to go stick them at many universities when they shouldn't be here in the first place. And it is a failed project. It is making us poorer. And by the way, just look at the actual numbers over a period of time. Has it worked? Is homeownership now going up for young college graduates?
Well, how are we going to
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about my story, okay? So I once worked as a microbiologist, and my students can't believe it because they're like, you look nothing like a microbiologist. Well, I often tell them, I didn't know that microbiologists had a look. So I guess they kind of saw a geeky person, playing with test tubes and petri dish. And by the way, I had no business being in a biology lab. It was something that I was kind of forced upon. I'm not going to put down my dad, but yeah, that's where it came from. So, but yeah, I worked as a microbiologist for several pharmaceutical companies. And when I started working at this one particular company, and this is after I've earned my master's degree in biology, I was happy just to be offered a position until I found out that the manager who I reported to, this short little Filipino lady, made more money than I did. Well, that's not surprising. I mean, after all, she's the manager. She's the boss. She held decision-making powers. And, of course that would make more money. But here's the thing. She did not possess a college degree. Did you hear what I said? She did not possess a college degree. Wait, what? She had no degree? So how did she become the manager? How is she working with test tubes and petri dishes and conducting biological experiments, and yet she doesn't have a degree? I just finished my degree. I spent a lot of money for my degree, and not just my bachelor's, but for my master's as well. What the S? Are you kidding me? Well, I got news for you. There are scenarios like this all over the place. You're going to see people who did not go to college, and yet they're your bosses. Okay, there are people who did not go to college and are making 10 times more money than you did and are not in debt. So why did I get a degree to begin with? Because of that traditional promise. Go to college, get a good job, everything will be fine. Well, that statement is broken. That's no longer true. Okay, it's more like go to college because the employer wants you, okay, to have that piece of paper, and you get the job, and they'll pay you whatever they feel like it, and it's not going to match the debt that you have to go. And remember, okay, you're not just going to have college debt. You're going to have car debt. You're going to have a home loan. You're going to have credit cards. Oh, you got to go out and see that movie. And don't forget, many of you are going to have kids of your own. Okay, how much longer are you going to... My son wants to go to USC. Yikes. Okay. USC is about $400,000 after 4 years. And that includes not just the tuition, but also the fees, room and board, books, food. It's endless. Let's not forget the parties, right? So, yeah. And then with the interest rate and all other factors calculating, a $400,000 education from USC is going to cost you about $3,000 a month. That's right. If you decide to pay in 10 years. If you decide to pay in 15 years, well, it's going to be a little bit less, but you're going to end up paying more. So $400,000, you might end up paying close to $500,000 for an education. Yes, you better make sure that you are getting that high-paying job. Now, it is true, and you can Google it, okay? What is the typical salary of a graduate from a particular college? How much do they make once they graduate? And USC students typically make more. And I'm looking at the stats right now. They make about $90,000 to about $120,000, depending on what they're doing. And from Cal State LA, okay, anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000. So not great, but not bad either. So it all depends, okay? And also, don't forget that a lot of these employers, they want you to have a master's degree, an advanced degree. Is your pay going to go up? Oh, it'll go up a little, just a little. But still, it's time and energy on your behalf. So, yeah, college, again, I don't see it as a scam, okay? But I do see it as a risk. And you have to take that risk. You have to make that decision. So Charlie Kirk often frames his critique around the campus culture. He says that some of these colleges, this is where he kind of gets weird, because he claims that many colleges prioritize ideology over education. This is where it kind of gets dumb, okay? So he says that some colleges act as echo chambers for progressive ideas, which he believes stifles free thought and indoctrinates students rather than educating them. Oh, really? Oh, okay. That is the stupidest reason to not go to college. I just think that's a load of crap. Okay, I went to college in both Penn State and Arizona State, and these are pretty much. I don't know if they're red states but there are plenty of conservatives in those states, and plenty of professors who are conservatives. Some of the students I've kept in touch with are Trump-supporting, Fox News-watching MAGA maniacs. But who cares? You're there for an education. You're there for, getting a job. So when Kirk made this statement, he just made it for himself. I mean, that's just silliness, okay? He thinks that you're going to go to college and all of a sudden you're going to favor abortions? I mean, really? I just think that's not a good reason. I mean, money should be the only reason. And can you get a job and have a good career without having to go to college, okay? So, and that's where I do agree with him. He wants you to consider alternatives. So let's listen to what he has to say.
The average plumber make in Scottsdale, Arizona? $115,000 a year. What does the average HVAC technician make in Henderson, Nevada? $75,000 a year. But those don't require college degrees. There are 11 million job openings in this country right now that don't require college degrees. We are oversupplying college. My cautioning is to the population of plumbers, electricians, and welders, people that want to be police officers. We need less people to go to college than more, not more.
We take a lot of class.
Okay, so instead of going to a four-year college, which is a typical belief by default, Kirk encourages paths like apprenticeships, community college, gap years, vocational training, or direct entry into the work or business, especially when specific degree isn't needed for a job a student wants. Well, I agree with that. I think you need to kind of push the brakes a little bit here. Right after high school, do you really need to go straight to college? I mean, and if you look at some of the trade schools, okay, let's look at some of the salaries of HVAC technicians, plumber, carpenter, the welders, and firefighters. So they're pretty high up there. I mean, they're making just as much money as, say, a person with a degree in biology, chemistry, ethics, ethics, what the heck? I mean, it's pretty much the same. So, well, here's liberal arts and stuff. Yeah, if people in liberal arts, you're not making anything, are you? Yeah, anyways. So attending a traditional four-year college should not be treated as only the best path for everyone. Yes, a typical college education, like I said, makes more than those don't. But I think that's changing. I think more people are now going into the trade schools. And I fully accept that. And I think the high schools need to stop pushing these kids to go to college, okay, and let them have a free will, free thinking, promote critical thinking, and let them make their own decisions, okay? Don't push the college thing because you're just making them spend money, okay? I think we should bring back courses like wood shop and metal shop and auto mechanic and all that fun stuff that will definitely enhance your skill set. And it may not be used for the job, but I'll tell you, I would love to learn how to do contract work. For instance, how to, work with cement, how to work with wood, how to work laying bricks. I mean, these are really good skills. Or even how to become an electrician, how to work with that. These are great skill sets to learn, even if you're not making any money off of it. But boy, I'll tell you save a lot of money if you know how to work doing that around your house. You can improve your own home, your own living space. I mean, if you want to study auto mechanic, you can service your own car. How much money can you save doing that? It's all win-win. And I would have to say that it is worth exploring. I think high schools should certainly introduce these CTE courses, these courses that are more skill levels. I know they're doing that in states like Georgia and Louisiana, Mississippi, states that are not really high in the totem pole, that people kind of consider, simple, conservative, education-hating people. Well, they're bringing things like airplane mechanic, motorcycle mechanic, AI, all these things into the high school. They don't go to college because those kids typically don't go to college. So they try to introduce these technical classes into the high school. What a great idea. And I'll tell you, if you really want to kill college tuition, tell the businesses out there to stop asking for degrees if you know that the job doesn't require one. I can't tell you how disgusted I was when I was working at that pharmaceutical company and found out that my boss had no degree. Why am I listening to you? And yeah, that might be an ego thing, but still, it's kind of like a slap in the face, because I went ahead and I got that degree, and I'm listening to him. I should know more than this person, right? At any rate, there's a significant amount of dropouts in colleges. People don't finish, but you still have to pay for the parts that you did take. I think you got to be very careful. ASU, for instance, Arizona State, has an acceptance rate of like 80%, but the graduation rate is not that high. I think it's like 40 to 30%, something like that. If you're not a good student, don't go to college. Just don't waste your time. I fully embrace the idea of people after high school go into some sort of service work, go get a job, go look at the world, make some money, pay some bills, start an investment account. Okay, 40% of the students that enroll in a college don't finish a degree. That's just a waste of time and money. 40%. And if you drop out, then guess what? You definitely, it's not a good thing. Okay. Employers often complain that graduates lack the basic skills like writing, work ethic, and problem solving. So they think that piece of paper it has less meaningful than people think. That's right, because our education system is not training students the right way. Come on, teach them the writing skills. Put that damn phone down. You're not going to learn anything on that phone. Okay, learn how to care for each other. This whole, Charlie Kirk was a deep-seated Republican. And that's where I kind of hold it against him, because he and Turning Point USA, I don't know much about it, but I know it's a deep Republican. And they are growing fast. They are powerful. They are a political force. But why? Why do we have to be so divided? Who cares? Why can't we be unified? The people at the top, they want us divided. They want us to fight each other. They want us to hate each other. It's Fox News versus MSNBC. We need to have students who have critical thinking, who can stop, look, observe, and solve problems. So going back to the college thing, yes, if you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or an engineer, yes, no doubt you got to go to college, but you got to make sure that's what you want. Okay. He calls college degree a scam because it's overcharging, undereducates, and pushes politics. It doesn't reliably deliver the economic payoff that it promises to most students. While he's not wrong, I still wouldn't call it a scam. It definitely is a risk. And again, one day, students, you're going to be about 65 years old, okay? And you're not going to be worried about your career. If you're anything like me, you're going to be worried about where you're going to take your next trip. You're going to be worried about going up to, traveling around the world and enjoying nature, enjoying, peace. That's what you're going to think about. You're going to be worried about how you can throw the birthday party to your grandchildren, to your children. That's what you're going to be worried about. You're not going to be worried about that USC degree. Okay, now, again, I'm not putting down college. I think college is, I'm going to still say that college is worthwhile, but only if you really, really need it. I'm going to start pushing the trade schools. I'm going to the blue collar work where you don't have to so much, so many books. Had to spend $200 on a book. Military is another good way, but that's with the way the world is going right now, I'm not really preparing my students to consider military work. But getting internships, making connections. If you want to work in the film industry, nobody cares what degree you have. No one's impressed. Okay, if you want to work as a real estate, you don't have to get a college degree. Just go work, get an internship, make some connections. That's really important. But we have a generation lost on their phones. Yeah, and then before you know it, you've got a $700 bill that you're not even sure why you're paying. So, at any rate, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You've done really well. I definitely have to say you've started a movement. You're very powerful. So although I disagreed with a lot of what he said, what he said was very racist, very hateful, hurtful, and but I have to say that he definitely spurred some thoughts about what he said about college being a scam. All right, so with that being said, this is Mr. Haig at Mr. Haig's Class Podcast, available at Apple and available at Spotify. Please tell your friends to like and subscribe. Okay, have a great night. We'll see you next time.